In today's world, there's something of paramount importance than it is human health. And if there is one industry which plays a significant role in ensuring human health, it is the medical equipment and medical devices industry. Hi, my name is Raman, and I'm from a company called Emerging Alliance, which pioneers in implementing SAP solutions for medical devices and medical equipment companies. In my experience of working with more than 50 plus industry verticals and their requirements for ERP, I have come across a lot of ERP solutions for medical devices and medical equipment companies. And if there's one ERP solution which fits to the requirement of medical equipment and medical devices trading companies, it is SAP Business One. I repeat once again, in this video, we are going to see how SAP Business One, which is an ERP solution, caters to the business requirements of a medical device or medical equipment companies. Before we move any further, let us understand the scope of work of a medical equipment trading company so that when we talk about the features and functionalities of SAP Business One for the medical industry, we have a perfect match. A medical equipment trading company is an entity which basically sources the medical equipment from their principal suppliers or OEM manufacturers of the medical equipment and has them sold to end customers like hospitals, healthcare centers, laboratories, and so on. And in an act of doing so, they install the equipments, they commission them, as well as they service and maintain them. Now, this is the business scope that we are talking about in a medical equipment trading company. With this understanding, let us move forward into the features and functionalities of SAP Business One for the medical equipment trading companies. I'll walk you through all the modules which are available in SAP Business One for a medical equipment trading company in an order to cash and procure to pay sequence. The first module is a CRM module. Now, SAP Business One has a lot of functionalities in CRM, but in this video, we are going to talk about the key functions which is of great use to the industry. The first functionality is opportunity management. Now, every business basically requires to go into the market and generate opportunities. Now, when you generate an opportunity, you need an application or a software where you can record this opportunity, the detail of your opportunities, and basically manage them by looking at what stage is the opportunity in and how it moves from stages to stages, and finally it gets closed. Who is managing the opportunity? What are the deadlines for the opportunity? What is the potential amount of the opportunity, and so on. Basically, we're talking about a sales funnel or an opportunity funnel management. And that function is available in SAP Business One. Not only that, there's also an salesman visit functionality which is available, which works out of a mobile application, wherein your salesmen who are available on the field can basically punch in their attendance. When they go to a particular prospect or a customer, they can basically check in the location and check out of the location, and they can record the activities that they have done over there. And if all goes fine, they can even create a request for quote or generate a quote, or they can create an order, and they can also create an opportunity right from their mobile app. There are multiple reports which are available in CRM, which basically helps the management to understand what kind of funnel or what kind of pipeline is being maintained at any point of time. And you can get to see by industry vertical, what are the various inquiries which have come in. You can get to see by salesman, what are the inquiries being managed. You can also get to see which are the inquiries which are being stuck for a long period of time, which are the inquiries which are at the tail end of the funnel and needs a little bit of push to get closed, who is closing more deals and who is closing lesser deals. And you can even have a Pareto done for 80-20 principle, where 20% of opportunity contributes to 80% of the value. There are multiple reports available which helps the sales team and the sales management to review sales in an application like SAP Business One. The next module is a sales module, and the first and foremost feature in the sales module is quotation management. So SAP Business One helps medical devices and equipment companies to basically generate the quote right from your SAP B1 application. If quotations are basically done in an Excel sheet and there is very less control, then it can be made right out of SAP Business One. The formats can be customized if you are following a certain set of format for quote, or if you have multiple formats for multiple customers for quotations, then all of those can be maintained. Now you can also have the quote sent through an email right from SAP B1 application, as SAP B1 comes with out-of-the-box integration solutions for any kind of mailing services. As we talk right now about sales quotation, what you can see behind me is a sample quotation done out of SAP Business One. The next feature is sales quote. Once you have sent out the sales quotation to the customer, there might be several revisions that the sales quote undergoes. So you have the revision order management. And once you have the finalized sales quote, the customer basically issues you a PO. You can get that PO and have a sales order confirmation done in SAP Business One, which is called a sales order in SAP Business One. And the best part of it is customer POs can be attached in a sales order. So there is something called as DMS, or document management system, in SAP Business One, wherein you can attach any kind of customer documents to a respective sales order or to a respective order. Now that you have finished the sales quote and sale order, the next thing is if you have a stock, you basically go ahead and deliver it. Now there's an excellent functionality called gross profit analysis. Now what is this is, before you have an invoice printed out for an order from SAP Business One, you can run a report and you can ask SAP Business One whether the invoice is profitable or not. Business One has a capability to give you line-wise profitability. Now, what do I mean by this? So the gross profit functionality basically helps you to look at the invoice before you print them and tell you which are the line items which are profitable and which are the line items which are not. If profitable, what is the profitability? And if not profitable, then basically shows in red and what is the loss that you make. Now, this is an incredible functionality which basically empowers any medical devices and equipment trading organization looking at a P&L statement at an end of the period, which is at the end of the year or quarter or month, to looking at a profitability at every invoice level. If you get the profitability right at every invoice level, then obviously your year-end profitability or P&L statement will be absolutely fine. We always encourage our customer to basically check this report before you print the invoice, and if there is a compromise on profitability, the system basically has facility guide you to tell where things went wrong. Now, isn't that a very powerful functionality? Not only that, SAP Business One has an approval mechanism. So the approvals are either available in your laptop or your desktop within the SAP environment, or it can even come to your mobile phones, whether you're using an iOS or Android phone. Every transaction has a maker and checker, and the approval mechanism is of two types. You can either have a workflow based approval, which is person A creates it, it goes to person B for approval, and it further goes to person C for super approval, and so on. You have up to 11 levels of approval. Or a value based approval, wherein you can always set a limit saying that if it is less than X value, then person A gets to approve it. From X to Y, person B approves it, and so on. Now that was approval for you in SAP Business One. The functions that I just spoke about are very key functions in sales. There are other functionalities also, like delivery management, outgoing inspection management, or pre-dispatch inspection, outbound logistics, customer return, and so on, which is not so frequently used but still available in an SAP Business One sales module. The next module is purchase module, which is just the opposite of sales module. Now, purchase module begins with purchase request. So there's a purchase request functionality. Now, purchase request in SAP can be generated through three means. The first one is a manual purchase request or purchase intent. The second one is a reorder level automated purchase request. And what do I mean by that? Is for every medical equipment or items that you have you can basically have something called as a reorder level or a minimum stock level. What happens if the stock goes below the reorder level? Then you can configure the system to create an automatic purchase request. The third one is basically an MRP driven purchase request. So MRP is nothing but material requirement planning. So when you run the MRP cycle, it basically checks all the open sales orders, what's the stock available, what is the minimum stock that needs to be maintained, what is delivered to customer, and what is available in the pipeline, that is the purchase pipeline. And it finally tells you what needs to be procured for the next 30, 60, 90 days. And if an purchase request is generated because of that, so it's an MRP generated purchase request. Once a purchase request is generated, you also have an RFQ module, request for quote. You can convert the purchase request either to a request for quote, which can be published and sent to multiple vendors for collecting the prices, or you can convert it into a PO. Now let us look at RFQ, which is request for quote. As I said, the RFQ feature in SAP Business One is a functionality which helps you to send a single purchase request to multiple vendors, and the vendor receives a link or a mail. He can go into the link and feed in the prices and quantities and basically submit, and SAP gets back those information on a single screen and shows you the comparison of all the vendors by price and by delivery date. Meaning to say, who is the vendor who is the most economical or the less priced one, and who is the vendor who's the earliest on delivery. So the system is trying to help you to make a decision on who is the best on price and who is the best on delivery. You can make your decision and convert the RFQ results into an PO, which will once again can go for an approval. In the PO, you can add your terms and conditions. You can have multiple terms and conditions for different kind of vendors. Even that is possible. Once the PO is approved, you can have it mailed to the supplier, and the supplier based on it can send you the material, for which in SAP Business One, you will do a goods receipt, and that's the next functionality. We call it goods receipt against purchase order. Generally, the industry calls it goods receipt note or GRN. The GRN might be partial or full. When I say partial, the order quantity might be 10 numbers. If you receive 5, so 5 is entered into your system and gets added to your inventory, whereas the other 5 is open as an purchase order. After you receive the material to a GRN, there's something called as incoming inspection. So you can also subject your material to inspection, and whichever are goods which are qualified and okay to go, you basically move it to a production warehouse. The rest, rejected ones, basically goes to a quarantine warehouse. Based on this, you have the next module, which is accounts payable invoice or AP invoice. In this module, whichever are the goods which are cleared for payment basically comes up, and you can create the AP invoice for those items, and an invoice for the supplier gets booked. The countdown for the payment starts based on the credit terms. There is also an advance payment functionality available, by which you can have the supplier paid in advance, after which you can receive the material. The advance can be either a full advance or a partial advance paid. Both the functionalities are available. And if there's a return involved, then the returns module is also available. As I told in sales function, purchase function also has approval, and the approvals can either come to your laptop or desktop and even your mobile phones. The next module is inventory module. Once the material lands into your store after your purchase function, it goes into the inventory module. The inventory module basically has warehousing feature. So you can create multiple warehouses or a single warehouse, and you can have them all managed inside SAP Business One. The warehouse doesn't need to be in a single premise. They can be in different locations. Even in that case, you can create warehouses and track each and every warehouse on what came in and what went out and what is available in stock. Inside the warehouse, you have bins and locations. Now, this is also a feature in SAP Business One, where you can have racks, shelves, and bins and aisles. So this data is stored in SAP Business One, and every material is basically stored against a particular location. This helps the medical devices companies to retrieve material much faster. The next functionality, which is batch number, serial number, is one of the most critical functionalities required by the medical equipment industry, because all the equipments that you buy basically comes with a serial number or a batch number. There is a warranty guarantee associated to it, or there's a shelf life associated to it. So batch number and serial number becomes of paramount importance. So whenever a material comes in, if it is batch number, serial number activated, then the system will not allow the material to go into the stock until the batch and serial number are created. And once it's created, if it is sold to a customer, the invoices basically carry the batch number, serial number tracking. So at any point of time, if there is any rejection, if there's any problem, you get a complete traceability right from the customer end to your inventory, to your supplier. The next feature is physical count or stock counting. So if you are a company which basically does a physical count once in a year, then it's a strong recommendation that you do it in a shorter span, like at least half a year, like at least once in every quarter to begin with. And if you want to do physical count more frequently, then you can basically have a 80-20 principle built, which is like 20% of the item which contributes to 80% of the value. We call them as high value items. You can have those high value items identified and do a physical count for those items alone on a monthly basis, and the rest of the items can be done on a quarterly basis. This kind of reduces your load on the time spent for doing physical count. So physical count is one more feature of great importance. SAP Business One also comes with barcoding facility. These days, all manufacturers do ensure that their products basically carry a barcode or a QR code, and especially when it comes to medical equipment devices, the barcode or the QR code which carries the manufacturer item details, the serial number and everything is available. So you can have them scanned. SAP Business One comes with built-in barcode functionality, and you can use them for inverting, tracking, retrieval, and dispatching of material. Now there's a disclaimer there. SAP Business One comes with inbuilt barcode functionality, but that doesn't cover the barcode devices or the barcode printers and the barcode label. That's something which is out of SAP Business One's scope. So if you have a barcode stuck or a barcode engraved on an equipment, then basically that can be scanned for the purpose of inverting the material or sending out the material. Those were some of the key features and functionality. The other features and functionalities are like alternate items. You have FIFO, first in, first out. You have stock valuation. You have item aging reports, stock alerts, and stock level management. Let's move on to the next module, which is banking. Most probably, all medical equipment companies will be having an accounting software. The banking module basically has all the features and functions that an accounting software has. To begin with, the incoming payments and outgoing payment, but there's a small difference in this feature. Now, every time you create an invoice, might it be an invoice for your customer or an accounts payable invoice for your supplier, what happens is your invoices get stored in a calendar with respect to the due date. So if you have an employee who basically is looking at customer payments or who's basically looking into supplier payments, he can have a calendar wherein it will show up to him as a reminder on a daily basis of what are all the invoices which are due for collection or for payment. It's like I am an accounts person, I can open my calendar and I can get to see what are the payments which I'll have to call up my customer to collect today, and what are the payments that I'll have to pay my supplier today. Not only that, we can basically configure the SAP Business One system to send automatic mails to customers for reminding their payment and dues. Next feature is bank reconciliation system, BRS. So the BRS is pretty straightforward. It is like how it is available in the other accounting software with a cutting edge technology, which is you also have an automated BRS. So you can have the bank statement downloaded as an Excel format and have that uploaded in SAP so that the reconciliation happens automatically. This happens based on 3 criteria: the date, the value, and the reference number. If one of these 3 doesn't match with the bank statement, then SAP Business One basically shows an error for those line items which doesn't reconcile, and you will have to manually reconcile those items. You also have an interesting functionality called recurring posting. So things like insurance premium payment or EMI payment or rental payment, whichever payments are recurring and can be scheduled, can be put in recurring posting. So what happens is on the due date, it basically pops up to your screen and gives you a reminder that this particular posting has to be done or invoice has to be posted. All you have to do is push the button to get it posted. The next feature is taxation. Once again, SAP Business One has 40 localizations globally. So taxation of every country is taken care to the most recent releases. For customers who are in countries where e-invoicing is available, for customers who are in countries where e-invoicing is applicable, SAP Business One also has e-invoicing add-ons which can automate the entire e-invoicing process. The next module is finance module. Now in finance, some of the key functions are multi-currency. So if your company basically trades in foreign currencies on the buying and the selling side of it, you can basically invoice in multiple currencies. So the system will convert the foreign currency into the local currency or the system currency by taking into account the exchange rate, and whatever is the exchange rate difference that is encountered will be recorded either as a profit or loss in a separate GL. So you can also get to see a report in a month how many invoices were raised, whether it was a payable invoice or a receivable invoice with the different currencies. And with respect to those invoices, when you received the payment or gave the payment, what was the profit and loss which was made because of the exchange rate difference. Even this report can be generated from SAP Business One. The next feature in the finance module is chart of accounts. So SAP Business One has an IFRS certified chart of accounts. So you can either opt to go with an SAP chart of accounts, or if you have a standard chart of accounts which is prescribed by your auditor, you can even use that, have that uploaded, or you can mix and match both, the best of it. The next feature is fixed asset. So SAP Business One has a full-fledged fixed asset module wherein a fixed asset register can be created, depreciation rules can be created, and you can even automate the depreciation based on which depreciation runs on a monthly basis and the depreciated expenses booked. And you can get to see your P&L on a monthly basis with the depreciated expenses booked into the respective ledgers. The next functionality is budgeting, which is one of my favorite functionalities. You can set up budget at the beginning of the year, have them distributed by month for every GL, and have the expenses controlled. For example, if you have a budget for utility expenses like electricity, you can have them distributed monthly, and the GL where the utility expenses are booked can have a budget. The system has the capability that when you reach 70% or the threshold for a budget, it starts giving you an alert. And we can take it to a point where the budget, if it's breached, the GL basically gets locked and the user is not able to do the transaction. Not only that, you can even have a project level budget. So you can create projects and have budgets allocated to it. And if the project basically goes above the budget, the project locks and asks for approval. The next feature is cost accounting. So if your company has multiple divisions, multiple branches, and you want to see the profitability by product line or by division or by branches or by department, then you can have these cost centers created and you can account your income and expenses by cost center so that you can get to see your financial statements like P&L, balance sheet, and trial balance by cost centers. And finally, SAP Business One has an optional intercompany module wherein if you have multiple legal entities created in SAP Business One, you can basically consolidate all the financials or all the chart of account at a virtual company level, and you can generate the financial statement at a virtual company level to see how you are doing at a group level or a virtual company level. So this will be useful for a group company which basically has multiple sister concerns running parallelly and you want to consolidate the financials at a group level. The next one is a service module, which is pretty key for the medical equipment industry, because once you install and commission the equipment at the customer end, So there'll be things like breakdown maintenance or a periodic maintenance. So to execute this kind of maintenance, you require a module. So the service module basically begins with machine ID or equipment ID. So whenever you have a serial number invoiced out of your gate, the system, SAP Business One, automatically creates a machine ID or a unique equipment ID, and it gets stored in your system. So any activity that you do after you sell the equipment to a customer gets recorded against this machine ID or equipment ID. Not only that, the next feature, which is basically warranty and guarantee, is associated with the machine ID or equipment ID. So whenever you sell, you can have multiple warranty understandings that can go associated with the equipment. Whenever there is a complaint or an issue, you can create a service call or a service ticket against a particular machine ID, and you can have this assigned to a particular technician who can go into the field and have it repaired, serviced, and he can close the ticket. The details of the resolution can also be fed into the service ticket. The service module also allows you to do spares management, so you can get to see what are the spares issued against the service ticket, what are the spares consumed, and billing of those spares to the end customer, as well as spares procurement, storage, management, and physical count. All can be managed in the service module. That concludes all for the service management. The next module that I'm going to talk about is not a module, but all the features and functions which couldn't be listed in this module, but is of great use when you buy a system like SAP Business One. So number one is document management system. I did have a mention about this in the same video. So any documents can be scanned, or if the documents are available as soft copy, can be stored in SAP B1 with respect to any transaction. So you can have product brochures or portfolios or test reports stored against an item master, or you can have supplier invoices or customer purchase orders stored against a sale order or a GRN, and so on. SAP Business One comes with out-of-the-box Microsoft Outlook integration, and it also has other email ID integration, so that any transactions which are created in SAP Business One, when needs to be sent out as a PDF to an external world, can be automatically mailed from SAP Business One. The next feature is dashboards, one of the key requirements for a medical equipment industry. So the dashboard is customizable dashboard, not only customizable at a company level, but also customizable at a user level. So every user can have dashboard set up for them. So the dashboards can be a number-based dashboard or a traffic light-based dashboard or a graphical dashboard, or you can even have most frequently used functionalities in your dashboard. The dashboards are also connected, like I can have, if I'm a salesperson and I also have a colleague, then our results together gets combined at a manager level, and the manager's results together get combined at an executive level, and executive's results get together and get combined at an board level. Other functionalities like internal messaging systems, workflow management, relationship map, report generators where users themselves can generate reports or create report formats, export functionality to Excel, Word, import functionalities from Excel, and so on. Some of the other modules which are not standard in SAP Business One, but the medical equipment industry requires, and which has been developed by Emerging Alliance, that's our company, and certified by SAP Business One, are quotation add-on. The quotation add-on is nothing but the medical equipment industry, the medical equipment trading industry basically requires to quote a lot of items which is not part of your item master. So what happens is, we have an add-on where you can create any item which is not part of your item master in a quote, and have even the images attached and the other details of the items attached. And when you add the quote, the add-on not only creates an quotation, but also makes sure that those items are created automatically in the item master. Not only that, we have also created a customer portal, a web-based customer portal, where the medical equipment and device trading companies can basically have it extended to their customers, so that every customer basically gets an user ID and password. They can log into this portal place the order, and this portal is basically a web-based portal. And once the order is placed, the order directly comes inside SAP Business One. And once you process the order in SAP Business One, the respective informations like delivery information gets reflected into the portal. So the customer can place the order and get to see the status of the order and the status of the delivery and the status of his invoice all in the portal itself. So these are some add-ons and customized functionalities which are developed by Emerging Alliance for the medical equipment trading industry in particular. Now that we have explained all the features and functionalities in SAP Business One which is applicable and usable for the medical equipment trading business, if you have any requirement for an ERP, or if you are a company looking out for an ERP, please get in touch with us. There's a link or a mail ID provided below. We will be more than happy to show you a customized demo for the medical equipment industry with your item codes and item parts and show it in SAP Business One. Thanks, and see you in one more video.